Broadcasting live from the backstretch at Saratoga, this is the Handicappers Report. Brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report alongside Seth Merrow. I am Anthony Mormino, and this is unofficially Brian Nadeau Day. Why? Because it's hoodie day. Get your hoodie on. It is stupendous today. If you're wearing a coat and you're under lights and you're on TV. If you're out of the racetrack, it is definitely autumnal-like, beautiful breeze. I would say 60 degrees maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, just barely. I mean, the sun is out. It's bright. It's shiny. I always say that, let's run the races now. I mean, this would be Del Mar every day. A little warmer, about 10 degrees warmer, but no humidity. But just a beautiful day. Closing week at the spa is underway. And 5 racing days left before we get to Labor Day closing day. And kudos to Steve Bick, who
that was
along with yours truly.
Did you have it as a top pick? Because my
Yes.
friend Sam
Yes.
texted and said you hoped you played the triple.
Yes, I had. If for recent viewers of my work, if you just said Anthony Mormino in a capsule as a public handicapper, yesterday was the day. I did something which, by the way, I've done more often than the reverse. That is, Seth, my top picks in the early daily double ran last. I have had that happen more often than daily doubles I have hit. But to follow it up, Seth, in the third race, my top pick ran last. I do believe that's the first time that's ever happened. But a little while later, $320 trifecta, and then even a little while later, the bomb. So that is me in a nutshell, folks, for you. So the headline, I don't know what the headline would be, but it'd be public handicapper, pick 3 runs last, positive ROI for the day. That's me. So, and I've said this before in this seat, you don't pay a surcharge for having your picks run last.
That's true.
There's no I don't know who it was. I don't think it was it might have been Mario Andretti years ago. He was like runner-up at Indy, and company goes, that means I'm the first loser. And I'm just like, in this seat, you win races, and there's exotic wagering. Won't get into that, but I was watching the day unfold, and tell Sam I'll have that information for him. I'm sorry, but I went home, and
number of odds-on winners.
A vine had strangled a tree in our backyard and killed it.
Oh.
And the tree dropped, and it's a good-sized tree. Not like these puppies out here, but it's a good-sized tree, and fence and everything. It was a disaster, and I had to clear it out. And it got back, and I was like, last. I don't think they saw it. And then, at the end, it turned out to be saving day.
For a double, I needed the horse that ran second there. So it was a couple last races in a row where I got zapped out. But I knew Bick had it. And as I say, right after the race, my friend Sam said, I hope Anthony, because he prints out the sheet every day. So I was actually rooting for you guys because my double was just a little double. But you guys and Bick had it as play of the day. So the play of the day team wound up, I think, $1,200 added to the kitty, so it's well over $1,000, well over $4,000 now. With still 5 days left in the bankroll. So it was like I said, I was actually rooting for you guys there to get it because it was another ding dong in the finale there.
And it's one of those ones where I think Bruce Brown's runner was like 10-1 on the morning line, maybe 12. I thought that was about the right price. Went off at 15. So the people it was a full field. So the people were pretty good there. Snazzy tie you have there. Not a Bago tie, a from down under tie.
You got it. Once again, thank you. And it's as I
the tickets just went on sale the other day.
As I put it on, more bulk than a normal tie. I like it.
Yeah,
it's nice.
it is beefy. I noticed that. But if you just for our summer viewers or whatever, I had the great fortune of going to Australia in January. I went down to Melbourne, Flemington, which is where they host the Melbourne Cup, and I think it must host most of the major races, right? Flemington. I think they have West Coast racing in Perth, and there's some other jurisdictions, but I think Flemington is I've said this before, it is a substantial edifice. It's actually 2 or 3. It's and I'll tell you, it's beautiful. And I said to Seth, I'm hoping to go to New Zealand to play golf in January, but I did not pay much attention. But you said I have horse racing options there, so I have to look into that. I might have to play. I'm going to have to figure out the logistics, play an early round, and then get to the track, because there's no way I'm going to the other down under and not going to the track if they have it. But you said to me, I never looked. I mean, to be honest with you, Seth, most nations have horse racing.
Yeah.
I mean, some nations, they kind of standardbred is big in Europe.
Yeah.
I noticed that. I know it's big in Sweden. Do they have flat racing in Sweden also?
That's a good question.
So
harness racing is
big. So it's so that's for another day. But hopefully you keep the ball rolling. I don't think there is no under. You know how late in the NFL season they'll say something like, based on the tiebreaker, under normal, they can't make the playoffs because they have to win the game like 172-7, which isn't practical. I'm in that position for a positive ROI. I would have to hit, I think I picked out like 4 15-1 shots would get me. It could get me there. I don't anticipate. It's doable. It is doable. And we got one down yesterday, so I needed basically a $30 winner every single day.
Let me hit you with the promos coming up here at Capital OTB as we wind up August today at the Clubhouse Racebook. $100 play the board contest today. Have a little extra fun. You can do that for the next few days down at the Racebook. Today, the $100 play the board. Tomorrow, it's the knockout challenge at the Racebook. So, again, a little extra fun down there. And Saturday, it's the King of the Hill contest at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. Tomorrow, it's a Fan Appreciation Day at the Gallup Inn and the Woodlawn branches. So if you're a patron at either of those places, stop by tomorrow, Friday.
It's not for Fan by the way.
Day. Yeah, this is actually a live breeze. Again, there's food, free stuff, contests. Contests are always a lot of fun. You can win a little extra something there. Fan Appreciation Day gives us our chance to say thank you to you. Gallup Inn and the Woodlawn branches tomorrow. Tomorrow, also, the Pick 3 bankroll will open up. I'll play the bankroll on Sunday, but you can put your name in the hat starting at about noontime tomorrow through about noontime on Sunday to hopefully get picked for the bankroll team. And coming up at 10 o'clock today, should be a fun show today. 10 o'clock, our last DRF visit. And in the rotation today, it's Mike Welch. So we'll talk, Mike, a little preview and review some of the stakes most recently run and some of the stakes coming up over this closing weekend. John Panagot, jock agent, agent for Manny Franco and Florent Giraud. We'll talk a little bit about the jock agent game and beyond. And then speaking of jockeys, Flavien Prat will join us at the end of the show. We'll talk a little bit about his really, really good meet and more with Flavien. All of that coming up 10 o'clock, Racing Across America.
He won, I want to say the Bing Crosby, but it could be the Pat O'Brien. I apologize that. Like 4 years in a row, early in his coming to the United States. When he was really, you're kind of like, well, that's a surprise, sprinting on the dirt. He figured it out. And that was the tip-off to me that he could figure a lot of things out.
Yeah.
And he had. Quick note, we are on a 3-year winning streak. Seth, we are 2 back with 5 to play. And I am up today. So this is the second most pressure I feel besides betting for these teams that Seth does on Sunday and other days throughout the year. So we're 2 back. Way too many ties. We're like the NHL in the 1970s. I think it's 13-11-9. Like too many ties. But we are 2 back. The 2U has led comfortably throughout. This is probably, as Mike Callahan getting it done yesterday, this is probably as close as we've been since the first week. 2 back.
And 2 back with this many to go. We can't.
Well, I have to win today. I mean, and this is not my forte. Although, as I've said many times on Thursdays, I want our team to make it 4 in a row, etc. So, but that's where we are. The Times Union having a outstanding year, and good luck. 5 days out. It's as you said today. I accept the pressure. Today goes a long way. We lose where it's almost impossible. If we win, we got a shot.
That's interesting. We
get a shot with 4 to play, but it's down 3 with 4 to play is bad, but down 1 with 4 to play is there. And it is fun. It was I've said this before. In 22, you knocked it out of the park the last weekend, Labor Day weekend. So we scored. So good luck.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Are you ready? Any other business?
Play of the day?
Yes, the DePaula Chevrolet. I mean, white hot going in. The DePaula Chevrolet play of the day up next.
The race for savings is going on now at DePaula Chevrolet. Pick your Chevy, pick your payment, and DePaula delivers. Or every Chevy, 0 down payment, 0 first payment, 0 security.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Hey everybody, Steve Beck back with you for the Thursday DePaula play of the day. But before we get to that, let's savor Wednesday's $32 winner. Very pleased for everybody. For Bruce Brown to get off the duck. Luis Saez with his 4th win of the day. It doesn't get much better than watching that rally commence and watching the Philly hit the wire, thinking, I think we got it. Then when they played the replay, I thought, oof, maybe not. But then they post the photo and the win. So congratulations, $1,100 and change into the pot for Capital OTB shareholders. Happy for everybody. And thanks to Bruce, who really had that Philly ready. And there was a lesson there because she was kind of dirtied up. And I've got another horse similar. This is much more of a stab. I'll be quite frank. But it's a weird card, a carryover card, and it's not going to be easy. In the 5th race, though, 25 claimers, fillies and mares going 3/4 on the dirt. Look to the outside. Jackson's Dixie is another horse that kind of looks out of form, but is dropping back into claiming territory for Orlando Noda. Rivera, who has had an okay meet. He's won 5 races. Rivera climbs aboard, and Jackson's Dixie has got a race, earlier this spring. This is a filly who runs all the time. I mean, she's a trooper, and I get a feeling she's circling back to a good effort. She's 12 to 1. Going to get every bit of that. She might even drift higher, like what happened today. And so, with a little bit of a cushion, let's play with the 9 in the 5th. Jackson's Dixie, your Capital OTB. DePaula play of the day. Good luck, everybody. Talk to you on Sunday. I'll see you then.
The race for savings is going on now at DePaula Chevrolet. Pick your Chevy, pick your payment, and DePaula delivers. Or every Chevy, 0 down payment, 0 first payment, 0 security.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Steve Pick trying to keep that numbers 9 saddlecloth rolling. He'll get paid again today because I think he's getting all of 12 to 1 or better. On to the opener. 2-year-olds for the restricted auction price, maiden special weights, dashing 5.5 on the turf.
8, 5, 4, and 7 correlation on top for Mike Maker by complexity. Complexity this year, 28 firsters. 6 wins, a second and 3/3. Dan produced a couple of win early types. Tiz Frandarella won the first 2 starts, turf races. At least one of them was a turf sprint. Grandarella won the second start of the career. So again, there was win early, top and bottom. Did not get it done in the debut. And the price, given the fade job in the debut, is maybe a little bit disappointing. But I think they're probably onto something, or David Aragona's onto something. And then I think the betting public might overlook that fade job and look beyond that with complexity on top of Mike Maker. If they come to New York and get the restricted language here. So we'll see how it winds up when they go in the gate, but I put correlation on top. Just to Fly in the second spot. Debuted an off the turfer for Mike Trombetta. The number was a little light, but ran second. Justify very good with win early types, and it won't surprise me if this one bounces forward number-wise and competes nicely with this group with the experience under the belt. And Max and FIFO by Gervin, who's a very good first outsider, first foal to race from the dam, however, so wasn't much to find out there. But I thought there was enough in a field where nothing else was really pulling me in that direction. I went 8, 5, 4, and 7.
You couldn't get this bet in Vegas because of the nature of what I'm about to say, but what would you put the buyer speed figure at that gets the laurels?
It wouldn't
like
surprise me.
55 gets it, right?
55, I think, is a runaway. I was going to say 40 something maybe.
So almost everybody's in the pool, right? I mean, you're just like, I don't think I've ever seen a -0 for a turf race. You don't usually see 20s. There seems to be more of a compression because of the nature of turf racing that you look sometimes with 2-year-olds that really can't run on dirt. Then they run not a really good race on turf, but they get a buyer speed figure that's healthy. 9.56 for me. I'm just taking a flyer. I think the blame on top and Mr. Greeley on bottom, you're talking about, a winner of a Breeders' Cup Classic and a runner-up in a Breeders' Cup Sprint. But I think the turf might be okay. I don't know how okay you need to be to score the upset victory for Ed Barker for second. Just to Fly, Michael Trombetta, and then Rapid Send, another firster. Maybe a 47 gets it done, and Papa's Nico Boy can run a 47 and upset the opener.
Second race this afternoon, we're looking at plain vanilla claimers, $16,000 tags, 7 furlongs is the trip.
2, 7, and 1 for me, and another day gone by, remembering that this is a Thursday, so I felt like I could take a flyer in the opener because I thought it was wide open. But Greg Sacco claimed this horse back at Tampa near the end of their meet, scored a victory at 10. We've had this discussion before. We now know the 10 is the bottom. There's no 4-digit claimers. Whether it's a step up at 16,000, the accountant would say it's a step up. I don't know if it is. Gold Crest for a second in here, a sharp claim. Couple races back, won by a baker's dozen. Followed that up with a win. Was very competitive at 25. Very dangerous here with Irad on the outside. The horse to beat, and then Awesome Anne Marie, 2, 7, and 1.
7, 2, 3, and 1. I flip-flopped the top two. Your top two.
Right.
Irad Ortiz on top. On board Gold Crest. There's enough there. I think, we get a class move from the last couple of races that I think will be beneficial as the outside post position, which is going to give Irad a look at these. So I'll tilt slightly in that direction, but it's a tepid vote. Another day gone by in the second spot. Again, 1 at 10, and we move up here. Yeah, it's not an obstacle. This is a little half step up, really. She caught my eye as interesting. Goes out for a Linda Rice in the second start of the season, and the first start wasn't much, but it wasn't starter allowance company. Now they drop down to that, essentially bottom level, bottom-ish level up here. And has some back numbers that are okay. So I could see this horse maybe getting back to those with the fitness, but I could go either way. That last race may just indicate horse isn't coming back as good as the better races last year. We'll learn more about that one this afternoon, but I have it 7, 2, 3, and 1.
On to the third race, 3-year-olds and up, state bred fillies, entry level allowance going 6.5.
1, 7, 2, and 5. I am going to put the even money favorite on top because I think the Chad Clyde runner seems logical off the career debut. You look at the number, and it does seem to have an edge on this bunch. So, yeah, I'll tilt in that direction. Sweet Anniversary, interesting, coming in from the Finger Lakes off of a couple of nice efforts. And the debut effort is a number that's going to stack up with the top pick. Being a Finger Lakes runner, this one may get a little bit overlooked. 4-1 on the morning line, though, and deservedly so with the 2 for 2 record and that nice buyer in the the debut effort, but still, because it's a Finger Lakes runner, that 4-1 might hold up in here. And then Cruz to Catalina in the third spot. Riley Mott runner, been training down in Kentucky and comes in with a Churchill Bullet workout to return to Saratoga, raced here at the beginning of the meet off a maiden breaker in the debut, ran second. And that's a pretty good performance, going maiden specials and moving into that first level allowance. And so off of that, with that experience, Cruz to Catalina, I think becomes dangerous as well. 1, 7, 2, and 5.
You know, I think either this year or next year is the 50th anniversary of Andy Byers' seminal picking winners. And one of the ideas was that the speed figures are supposed to transfer over. So but 50 years later, I don't know that we're all wedded to that idea, because Sweet Anniversaries, Byers speed figure supersedes. I just switched it up. 2-1-7 evaluation, especially if it goes shorter than even money. I think this race on paper to me looks to be a little bit more competitive, that there shouldn't be an odds-on horse. I get the third career start. I have one more race, then Evaluation, who broke the maiden on the second, and then Sweet Anniversary. I think these three for horizontals lock it up, but I was just hoping that the one extra race where we move forward again with a greater time off. 2-1-7.
All right, time now for the dark horse play today, and it's another one where I'm not thrilled with my odds being a dark horse. I have a 7-2 shot in here. I will say I played the one in the fourth race, and it's just I looked around and I didn't have anything crazy, juicy price-wise. Contrabandist in the sixth is 6-1, and I took a serious look there, but it comes out of the 7 hole, debating scratches with that 1-turn mile, and I'm now getting locked into the 1, 2, 3, 4 or more, maybe where you want to be. A 5-1 yesterday out of the chute, but the first mile race yesterday, if you had boxed up the 1, 2, 3, 4, the exact, wound up with a very nice exacta. That may be my game plan going forward here. So I debated about Contrabandist at a better price, but I wound up here, as I say, it's not what I would love. I would either like double-digit odds or at least a double-digit payoff. We're flirting there. And with the connections, we're probably going to flirt in the wrong direction. But in the fourth race, I have number 4, Call Protection. It's Chad, it's Klarovich, it's Flavian Prat. Nice improvement, start 1 to start 2. Comes out of a couple of dirt sprints, now stretches on the turf. I just think the whole scenario is intriguing in here. Finished behind Reynolds Channel last time, who has the potential to be a nice one. And again, with these connections, maiden special weight to maiden claiming, stretching in the third start. I always like that. Moving over to the turf may be beneficial. So dark horse play of the day this afternoon. Race number 4, horse number 4, Call Protection, brought to you by the Dark Horse Mercantile and Impressions of Saratoga, both in downtown Saratoga, right on Broadway. Stop by and say hello, and we appreciate their sponsorship of the dark horse play of the day.
The old Jerry West, 44.
Yeah.
Picking winners, published January 1975, so I get it right almost 2 times, right? It said 74, 75, so right at the nip of 75. I have a hardcover edition. I could say without hyperbole, I've read it at least 15 times.
I don't think you're alone. I think a lot of people.
You think there's a lot of hardcover books out there of his?
Well, I think a lot of people have read it multiple times and place it up amongst their most important handicapping tools over the years.
I was about 11 and a half. The math absolutely worked for me as a guy who loves mathematics. And my parents up in heaven are going, we should have got him something else for Christmas. We'll be right back.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady. where the good times flow.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse. Welcome back to the Handicappers Report on this Thursday amidst the final week of Saratoga. Boo-hoo. And we were talking before we went on the air. I have, you haven't. I've seen a couple of trees that are already, that's the worst time of year for me. The trees are already
now is
tilting.
Because I love autumn. I mean, I love college football. Obviously, I enjoy the NFL, flying to California. But is it because winter follows it?
Yes.
Okay.
It's 3 for me. It's
what?
Summer, spring, fall, winter is the order for me. So it's number 3 on my season list.
Wow. Okay. I mean, but the top 3 are kind of bunched together, right? Winter's terrible.
Well, okay. Yeah, I'll go with that.
I love summer. We've talked before. Seth was a main enjoyer. And I love autumn. And I've actually grown to like spring a lot more. I think our spring in the Capital District is not as long as I would like. I think it was longer. We seem to have a very abbreviated spring, which I like because it gets warm in June and it's summer. But I love autumn. That's why people have asked me for years, like, are you chagrined? I said, I'm not. First off, I'm a time, manner, place person, and I think this place is supposed to be closed. So I don't. Moving on, it's like I don't want to be here on October 10th.
Do you remember when there was a few years? There's
a good chance the answer is yes. By the way,
there was a while. Yeah, they were probably right. There was a few years where they kind of talked about having like a little New York bread meet up here in the fall, which never materialized. But
and I think
would have been kind of.
You think the genesis of that was the Seabiscuit movie, like how remember they shot the scenes in the autumn, and people were like, "This would be a good thing." Yeah. Well, it seems like we're going to get the opposite thing. We're going to have a spring meet at Saratoga again.
All right, the 4th race this afternoon. We're looking at maiden claimer, $75,000 tags, 8.5 on the grass.
Boy, and you look in the company line, and there's a Kentucky Derby winner in here. Mystic Dan, Call Protection, my top pick. I'm 4-7-2 here, and the career debut was in the autumn at Keeneland. By the way, their tickets are on sale. Most of the Saturdays are already sold out.
Wow.
For seats. So, quick note on Good Samaritan. Good Samaritan was a turf runner, and I think first time dirt for Bill Mott won the Jim Dandy. So I am Call Protection for Chad Klarovich, first time in for a tag. Steadfast Resolve, also first time in for a tag for going out for George Weaver. Out of, there haven't been many, but Seth, not this time, has a chance to be. He and Justify, these dirt and turf runners, look out. And then Mr. Flowers for 3rd. But not this time. It was trained by Dale Romans, who had the abbreviated career. I don't think he ran at 3. I think he was retired early in the 3-year-old season. 4-7-2 for me.
All right. I sent the wrong numbers. I have it 4-7-3 and 2 as well.
The wrong numbers, not even close.
I'm wondering what the.
Did you do the old? This is the next race 8-3-4?
Because it looks like maybe I did.
I have done that. Luckily, I have caught it, but I have done that.
Changed them up. But I'm just looking. Okay, so it looks like 4 and 5 are reversed. So 4-7-3, 4-7-3 and 2. Call Protection on top, as I talked about, as you just talked about. But I talked about my dark horse. Steadfast.
Is that what tipped you off? That what do you mean I don't have Call Protection?
No, as you're reading, I'm going, oh, I have the same number, and then I looked up and I thought, I don't have it. So I pulled up my sheet and I did.
As the director falls off his chair.
Steadfast Resolve in the 2nd spot off a nice try last time in the 2nd start of the season. So moving in the right direction in the first 3 starts. And Mr. Flowers in the 3rd spot comes in off a nice try last time down at Laurel for Horacio DePazos. That was a nice little meet and seems logical in here as well. So in the 4th, I have it 4, 7, 3, and 2.
Horatio understood the vibe of coming on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
He got it. On to the fifth race. Claimer is in for 25, going 6.
And again, my numbers would be that. It seems like they're hesitant to put it out. I'm 8, 3, 4, and 2, as I say. I flip flop the 4th and the 5th. So I'm going with She's a Little Edgy on top. Linda Rice trainee off avoided claim. They come back at the same level. You're never quite sure, but this horse comes in good form. So I'll tilt in that direction. Second spot, backed by Gold, Rudy Rodriguez runner. That comes out of a claim at 12.5, so now doubles the price. But you go down the page, I think this horse, is faced better and tends to be pretty consistent on a decent effort. And I think it's going to fit with this group at maybe a nice price because of the move up off the claim. And then It Takes Heart in the third spot. Nice win, 2 back at 16, claimed out of that. They moved up. Now they kind of split the difference, probably moving back closer to the comfort zone in here. 8, 3, 4, and 2.
I won't make this promise because my word is very important. But I have the best of intentions, and we know how that works out, of making a list of these voided claims and the rationale. I just think I got to make a go of it. 864 here, and I mentioned that because I'm with Seth, the Irad Ortiz member. It's Thursday, so I take 8 to 5 shots with Linda Rice, who are voided claims. Malibu Moonshine making the first start since the first day of summer for Charlie Baker, who he didn't win. I don't know if he won yesterday. He's on the Duck, but his horses have not, hasn't been god awful. Then It Takes Heart for Wayne Potts, a $16,000 claim, ran well off that claim for 40. Now drops in for 25. 864.
6th race this afternoon. We're coming out of that mile shoot again. These are maiden specials, 2-year-olds vying for $100,000.
I know it won't seem like there's any correspondence, but we've run very few mile turf races, which are one of my favorites. But we are running plenty of mile dirt races. Are these the right numbers, Seth?
They are. I checked. No, I've already checked the rest of them. I'm good to go.
We're a lot of. I'm 893. A Thursday selection is the 8 Noble Confessor making the second start. But I do like there's, a month is a good time for me believing there'll be less muscle regression because I like the debut. A chance to go just slightly forward, I think, gets us home. T. Craft, who I liked earlier in the meet at 16-1. Last year, they would have won. Fiddling Felix for third, 893 in what I think is a very interesting race. Seth has been bold to take all the outside horses. Seth, this might be a good race to get a real feel for the geometry because the more talented horses seem to be at a disadvantage here.
Yeah, I will box the inside 4 here because they're going to be much bigger prices. And yeah, it is exactly the old harness racing kind of scenario. But I have it 7, 9, 8, and 3 on the talent. Contrabandist is interesting to me. By Gun Runner, debut effort. Showed a little something in there, wound up well beaten though, but behind Ferocious, who certainly may be a very talented runner going forward. Now they stretch to this mile. There's a sibling called Gigante, won in the second and third starts. Tryon Summer, second and third, then second and first. West End Gambler, second, fourth, and then won the next couple of starts. So there's some win early underneath. Gun Runner on top. I think this horse is going to be very interesting in here. Went to T. Kraft, the Lee Einsteiler runner that ran very well for Lee in there. In the second start, clearly got some improvement with the experience under the belt. Noble Confessor, who tossed in a good effort, like my top pick, also going out for Todd Pletcher, and it seems logical. But again, you're right. This is going to be and then Fiddling Felix, I do have in that inside mix
fourth,
that I
right?
think is playable. Yeah, put him in the fourth. But you're right. I think this will be interesting to see how it plays out. Talent versus post position at the mile. I have it though 7, 9, 8, and 3.
Who is father of geometry? Is Euclid, right? So it's talent versus Euclid.
That's exactly, yeah.
I was getting nervous. I didn't know if our director had presents for us or, we were going to get yelled at.
Yeah.
But apparently it's neither of those two. We'll be right back.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Back, ladies and gentlemen, I got to get new words, but glorious, stupendous, tremendous, as
Horses
good as
in
it
front
gets.
and beyond look like they're loving it as well.
This is nice. If you have a little while, just come on up today, folks. On to the 7th race, 3-year-olds and up, open company, maiden special weights on the Mellon Turf Course, mile 16.
2, 4, 6, and 1. I'm going to put Wheelhouse on top. First-time starter from Todd Pletcher. Sibling called Jaywalk. Jaywalk was a nice runner. Second in debut, then won the next 4 straight. Danza Trice won the career debut. So there's some win early here with the breeding. Certainly Pletcher can have them ready. Workouts aren't jumping off the page necessarily, but you go back, that July 25th is looking pretty good. So I'll put this one on top. Vintage Vino in the second spot. Vino Rosso, pretty good sire of win early types. This one hasn't quite lived up to it, but seems to be moving in the right direction. Now, I will say, the last couple of starts, 1.5 miles, 1 3/8, I'm always a little bit leery about the cutback from those marathons. I think you get dulled a little bit there, but we'll see. Off of those last 2, I think the horse is kind of playable in here. But again, I have that caveat, certainly. Commander of Truth, Chad Brown runner trying the turf for the first time. There was a sibling called Mona's Tale, 4th in debut, won the second start. That was on turf. So I thought there was maybe a little bit of turf breeding here to justify the shot here this afternoon on the grass. So for me, 2, 4, 6, and 1.
We got audio from the horses.
I'm not quite sure what was going on.
Very intriguing race here for me. I like the 8 very much. One of the things with Vintage Vino for me, what helps them out a lot is if they get pace. They just kind of fall into a race that helps them, because I think you're absolutely right. When you're cutting back from marathon, if you get a dawdling pace, you're doomed.
Yeah,
I believe you're doomed. Active Mutiny, to me, I'm in the same boat, making this first start since March, second start of the year. I just, I'm taking a flyer. I think will receive better than 5-1 on this runner, making the 5th career start. Vintage Vino draws inside, should get a good trip around. Whether or not there's enough hitting going on up front, which I clearly need in my exacta. And then Commander of Truth, they take the blinkers off. First start since the Belmont meet up here, I think is very dangerous in here. I am 8-4-6.
8th race, plain vanilla claimers. Now we are at the bottom level. $10,000 the tag, 3/4 of a mile the distance.
And they get the old feature position, race 8. Yeah. How things change. 3-1-9 were very similar here. Hatch first off the claim for the very dangerous Linders. Oh, you know what I mentioned? I don't think I mentioned it the other day, or maybe it's coming up. I apologize. Dylan Davis got a call from Charles Appleby and Godolphin. And I mentioned earlier that Dylan got to go out to the West Coast for the Eddie Reed. That's a real, jump. Getting Charlie Appleby having your phone number is really good. And Dylan Davis has the mount on Hatch on the other side of the horse racing spectrum from Godolphin. And then Chateau, who the race goes to, for John Kimmel, who's had an outstanding meet. And then for third, must be page 4, charging arrow. So 319 for me.
I'm the one entry 3, 8, and 10. Yeah, between the two, I probably would prefer Chateau. Going out for Jay Provenzano and Flying P, who as an owner is having a very, very good meet. As I say, I'd probably go slightly towards Chateau. Second off the claim. First off the claim was the win at 16. They put money in the bank. Now they're down at 10. Jay's going very well. I think they're just, hey, we put money in the bank. Let's, shop for a winning spot. Makes sense. Off the claim and taking a little bit of a drop this afternoon. Heat, so who should also be very intriguing. Hatch, your top pick. I have no arguments there. There are some back numbers that absolutely fit. Third start back off. A little bit of an April to June layoff, but I could see this one getting back to a better number. And then I went to Emerald Forest in the third spot off the claim. Moves down a little half step down the claiming ladder. Might be a player in here with IROD on board. The one entry, 3, 8, and 10.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, the late daily double.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
The only thing better than watching the races is watching your own racehorse. With nearly 20 years experience in the racing industry, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program enables everyday fans to become part owner of a thoroughbred for far less than you might think, with all the ownership perks at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, and other great tracks. Experience the thrill and lifestyle of owning your own thoroughbred racehorse. Learn more at bonaventurestables.com.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I was looking through the family. The house is no longer quiet. Our son outlasts his parents now, so there's never a quiet time in the house as there used to be for me. But I'm looking through 1979 programs from here. So basically, in my entire life, there's been the late double. I don't know if it started in 1969, but 1979. But 1979 was like driver's license. That's when it really took off for me because I had wheels, what we used to call them, and they were literally wheels, and it really changed. And I don't know if that was the first year for the late daily double. I don't know if that was the first year for dollar wagering, and luckily I had 18-year-old friends, but I saw them in there. I was wondering.
Boy, I would have not said it. Dollar wagering went back that far.
Well, that part I would have remembered it, but the late double, it was kind of in the program in bold, so I was wondering if that was the first year. A couple other interesting things, because obviously we're good on time. I used to love this, and they think they took the scene out of Easy Money. You couldn't cash. They didn't want you to cash 5 minutes to post time, your tickets. You couldn't advance wagering until the early double was over, usually like race 3. You could then bet out the card, and it was about the time when you could cash and buy at the same windows, because that's really before my time when you had lines completely dedicated.
Oh, really?
To selling. Yes.
Because I remember that.
Yes. No, I don't. Mine was.
I would have said that.
Because I used to see the signage was between every window, all betting and cashing. And I was like, well, naturally. But no, it wasn't naturally. There used to be a different system.
Betting would be on one side, cashing would be on the other.
But it was funny to see, advanced wagering, because I remember that.
Do you remember the little handwritten note with the payoffs? There was the little window. You walked up to the betting. You walked up to the teller.
I remember I couldn't bet until 1981.
No, but I
I'm
wasn't
only
betting
kidding.
much further, that much further. It was, but not. There was a little window there, and they would get the payoffs announced to them. They'd write it on a little sheet of paper. They'd put it in, boom, and you'd walk up, and the payoffs would be on a little handwritten note in a little
Not
window.
one time did I ever see that. That's a lot of things. Barbara Livingston posted it the other day. The old, probably Seth, they took down the big board that I actually liked. But when the big board first went up, I was sad to see the old whiteboard with the grease pencil with the scratches and everything go. That was the only thing I wish was still here. But obviously modern kids are going, what? Get on my phone at 10:55. What do I need a guy with a grease board? But you know what it was good for? This is what it was really good for. And this happened irregularly. Usually in 2-year-old races where maybe there was a strong morning line favorite scratched. So they would go up and they would have adjusted morning line odds for those races. Didn't happen very often. But which was a good idea because, as I said, we're so blessed with David Aragona here, but, he would be responsible for that. And I've seen people say that the morning line should go away. I do not agree with that. I think it's a valuable tool for fans that we're trying to get to grow the game. Yeah. Now, I do say on this program that if you're a handicapper, you should trust your handicapping and handicap before the morning line. The morning line comes out and your horse is 15-1. Be happy. Don't be like, did I miss something? No, you found something. So that was, kind of it.
I remember the guy up on the catwalk, chalkboard. And then you'd walk up at the beginning of the day to check your scratches, and there'd be 10 other people there.
That was it. The meeting posted. You'd be checking.
We have Jiminy Cricket visiting us today.
Wow. Ever tell you a story when
it's actually a grasshopper.
When we had Anthony on when he was 1 year old, and he was sitting on my lap. Now this is Traverse Day because he was born on Traverse Eve. So he's sitting on my lap. I kid you not. And I used to have a binder. I opened it up. So young Anthony's here. He's 1 year old. A young bird, sat on my page for longer than I've ever seen domestic animals sit. And all I'm fearful is that the bird just takes off and hits Anthony. So I'm kind of protecting him, etc. But the bird literally sat there for 3 minutes. And I'm trying to get to the next race, but it was so cute. But we're on to the 9th race, State Breds, entry-level allowance going. Boy, it's pretty popular.
Very popular.
1 mile.
Yeah. No, it's 1, 6, 10, and 4. I'm going to put Jamode, I'm guessing is how you pronounce that. We'll see what Frank does with it later. But comes in off a nice second-place finish, having shown a lot of early speed, going 1 mile and an eighth last time. I think that speed out of the 1 from the chute may play into a good race flow for this one here. Irod Ortiz on board. Skylar Starship in the second spot. Comes in from the Finger Lakes. Been working here, but comes in most recently racing at the Finger Lakes and racing decently. Third behind Pandagate, who won here the other day. Third in the New York Derby. 2 starts back. I think it's going to be a nice fit in with this group. And then Bob John Ray, Chad Brown runner, seems logical, certainly seems talented enough. But again, post position out of the chute may be a negative, certainly. 1, 6, 10, and 4.
Now, as many people are, but you were way ahead of the curve, fan of this group. Was the post position that detrimental to you? Okay, because to me,
yes.
To me, it's just a leap. I've kind of had the feeling that 10 is the maximum field size, and I think that I'm up against it. What I'm thinking Manny has to duck in and save ground because I don't think he can clear. It's not his style. He'd have to use, in my opinion, too much energy to get there. So, and people are not seeing our Wild Kingdom effect, Seth, because the Saratoga signage, he's right here. Oh, maybe they can't see him. But he's interesting.
He's just hanging
His
out.
antennas are up. I think they're always up. Merlin's Moment for Mr. Bond is a major player here coming out of the New York Derby. And then Nunzio, I think, the second career start taking on winners for the first time. late July has had enough time to reproduce, because I think the same type of effort has had enough time off. 10-4-8.
Stakes. We're taking all the breaks, right?
Yes, we're
rolling here. 10th is the stakes action today. The With Anticipation, always a lot of fun. The 2-year-olds on the turf, and again, this time of year, it's fun because they all come in lightly raced and they all come in with good records. That's why they're showing up in a stakes race. So $175,000 up for grabs. Grade 3 event, 2-year-olds going 1 1/16 on the grass.
Named for Jonathan Shepard runner. A couple things, and we had the maiden again win the PG Johnson. This is rather close. You combine the PG Johnson with Anticipation. I would say maidens have won about, I would say 50% for easy conversation. 45 would be probably a closer guess, but about every other one. Well, we've already had maiden win the PG Johnson, so check off that box. But the other thing also is, from time to time, I must be on a life raft here, Seth, that they've run it on the main and on the inner. And I'd like to talk to some trainers if I think the melon is a fairer test. And I just wonder why, because it's interesting because they run all the 1 1/16 maiden special weights on the inner, but we've run the stakes on the melon from time to time. I'm 187. You're similar but different. I always feel on Thursdays I can take about 2 flyers maximum to keep my team close, and Nudge is that flyer in here. I draw inside, go in the mile. I love the maiden special weight race, finished 3rd, but we have a chance. Here it is. Cavallo Bay, the 8. This is Charlie Appleby getting Dylan Davis's phone number. I'm all in. I mean, and then Zulu Kingdom for Chad and Madacat Stables. I think it's a very intriguing race. I took a flyer. You have the 2 on top. So there you have it. But there it is, Charlie Appleby and Dylan Davis. And I remember looking, and you see, this is the first time. There's nothing over here.
I'm going to go 2, 7, 8, 9. You have Nudge, ran 3rd behind mine, and it was the first time on turf for Nudge. I could see Nudge moving forward, certainly. But I went with the winner out of that race without caution. Career debut.
Can I just throw you here, because you say this a lot, and you're right, where you talk about we try and outthink ourselves, which I've done here. But I was saying the caveat to me is you're 3.5 and I'm 10.
And they're also lightly raced.
Yeah.
So there's more of an opportunity.
Yeah, and I didn't have the best of
switch up. But I liked it. A 2-year-old kind of sitting off the pace and closing nicely. I think this is legit. And Cherie DeVoe has this one in it. I think a good spot to make a move like this. I will note, Good Long Cry. Kind of interesting that George Weaver and company elect to go here. Good Long Cry's a filly. Could have gone yesterday, but they elect to go here instead. Didn't use it, but I will note that. Then I used the same horses you used underneath. Zulu Kingdom for Chad Brown coming in from Europe. For Madacat, Michael Dubb and company, and again, Chad Brown training, and the Charlie Appleby Euro shipper as well. They both come in having shown some talent and could be absolutely legitimate in here. 2, 7, 8, and 9.
I'm trying to think. Gallibran 2 years ago?
Philly that won?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the deal
now,
where Bill Mott entered both, and he made a great move because the
weather,
day before
right?
the weather?
The weather, yeah. And I think there was a year where they commingled the 2 races. I don't think PG Johnson had enough entries, so they ran. But I think, all right, the finale today around 6:49. Open company, maiden special weights, dashing 5.5 on the turf.
2, 6, 3, and 5, credit worthy on top for Chad Brown and Klarovich off a near miss in the debut as Chalk had a little trouble in there. Seems primed to get through today. Speed figures in the 2nd spot for Mike Trombetta off a 2nd place finish in an off the turfer, but should benefit from that experience and perhaps benefit also getting back to the turf. And Christophe Clement has Summer and Aaron. There were some win early siblings here that I think bode well for this one to run nicely this afternoon in the career debut. 2, 6, 3, and 5.
I'd like to play golf, Summer and Aaron. Cute little, the Waterford stable. No bells?
No.
Well, Aaron is Ireland and Waterford is made in Ireland.
Oh, okay.
I fell on my head. It happens from time to time. It's inexcusable that I have the 2 not on the board, especially on a Thursday. I just a swing and a miss on yours truly. But in the top spot, I wanted the 10, the first time starter for Barkley. And yes, I'm aware of Barkley, 0 for 13, first time start, 0 for 12, first time on the turf, 0 for 5 turf sprints. But I'm going to take my chance out here. I'm sure Flavian's agent can see the zeros, but took them out. That's good enough for me. And then Liberté to Bayou, Linda Rice Firster, an offspring of Omaha Beach, and then Summer in Aaron. So 10-9-3, but clearly the 2 is supposed to be in the mix for me. But I want the 10 on top, so I didn't miss that part.
All right. Once again, coming up at the Clubhouse Racebook today, the Play the Board contest. So keep that in mind. Lots of fun coming up over the next few days as we wrap up the meet down at the Racebook. If you want to enjoy your racing there today, Play the Board. Tomorrow, it's the Knockout Challenge at the Clubhouse Racebook. Extra fun. Saturday, it's King of the Hill. So next 3 days down at the Clubhouse, a little extra something. Tomorrow, Fan Appreciation Day at the Gallup Inn and the Woodlawn Branch. Give us our chance to say thank you to you if your patrons out in those directions. Saturday, the Bounty Bet returns, late pick 5 at Saratoga. And Sunday, it'll be the pick 3 bankroll. Entries will open tomorrow at noon. Don't forget, coming up in just a few minutes, Mike Welch from the Daily Racing Forum, John Panagot, jock agent, and Flavian Pratt, who's having a really good meet, all coming up in just a few on Racing Across America.
The Bing Crosby 4 in a row.
Okay.
It was a toss-up between those two, but it was the Bing. And I am here to say, at least from one person's opinion, this is the greatest morning of the meet. This is perfect.
I like warmer.
Okay. All right. So there you have it.
It's nice. I will not deny it is very nice.
This is like refreshing. Like you don't get fatigued or tired.
It's not cold, but it's cool.
And he's on board. So he stays, I go, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great Thursday for racing.
This has been the Handicappers Report, brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.